It was the sort of day that felt like any other until it wasn't. Jon Stewart, former late-night kingpin and current champion of truth and justice, was sitting at his desk when his phone buzzed. As he glanced down, his eyes widened at the headline on his Twitter feed. Elon Musk calls Jon Stewart a propagandist. Now, I've been called many things. Jon muttered to no one in particular, the morning light glistening off his mug that read, "Don't just sit there. Do something." Except that's what I do. He smirked at the coffee cup as if it had given him advice. But propagandist? That's a new one. It all started earlier that week when Elon Musk, CEO of Tesla, SpaceX, and self-proclaimed internet philosopher, took to his Twitter platform now known as X, much to the bemusement of social media users everywhere to unleash a tweet storm about the state of modern media. Musk, known for his late-night Twitter rants and cryptic posts, had been engaging with some of his followers on the topics of free speech, the woke mind virus, and of course, propaganda. It wasn't long before Jon Stewart, who had long been an advocate for free expression and a critic of unchecked corporate power, responded in his typically biting way. "Can someone point me to the propaganda? Because last I checked, all I do is tell people how messed up the world is. But sure, Elon, maybe I'm the problem." Stewart tweeted, attaching a link to one of his most recent segments on The Problem with Jon Stewart, where he discussed the rise of tech oligarchs and their role in shaping public discourse. Musk, never one to back down from a sparring match, shot back almost immediately. Jon Stewart is the quintessential propagandist. He's just another cog in the corporate media machine. Pretending to be neutral while pushing agendas, Musk tweeted with the subtlety of a wrecking ball. This was the match that lit the fire, and from that moment on, Jon Stewart knew it was game on. He would not let a billionaire who had built his empire on electric cars and Mars dreams define him as part of some grand conspiracy. Jon's response? A live-streamed monologue that quickly became a viral sensation. "Okay, folks, let's break this down," Stewart began, leaning into his desk as the audience cheered. He was no longer behind the desk of The Daily Show, but the rhythm of his delivery hadn't changed. Elon Musk, the guy who invented electric cars because he decided gas-powered cars were too vintage, thinks I'm a propagandist. The camera zoomed in on Stewart's face, his eyebrows raised, a deadpan expression masking the impending wave of sarcasm. Now, I get it. Musk's whole thing is being a disruptor. He revolutionized the electric car industry, although let's not forget, the guy who made the first electric car was a guy named Thomas Edison, and he did it without a full-on media blitz or a hyperloop. The crowd erupted in laughter. Look, I'm all for innovation, but let's be real. Musk's brand is as much about Musk as it is about the tech. Stewart continued, pacing slightly on stage. "It's all buy my cars and send a car to space, which is great, but let's not confuse sending a car to space with solving world hunger. Just because you've got a fancy flamethrower doesn't mean you're solving the climate crisis, Elon." The audience applauded. Jon paused, waiting for the clapping to die down. Musk's tweet about propaganda. "Yeah, that's rich. If anyone's a propagandist, it's the guy who named his company SpaceX. You hear that, kids? SpaceX. It's like when you name your dog Fluffy and then act surprised when it's, Fluffy." This whole idea that he's somehow fighting the establishment is adorable. Jon leaned forward, getting into the heart of the matter. This is where it gets interesting. You see, Musk thinks he's this big free speech crusader, but what's his idea of free speech? It's a $44 billion sandbox where he's the king, but if you tweet something he doesn't like, you're banned. Or worse, you're labeled a propagandist. Yeah, that's a real free speech environment, isn't it? The monologue quickly became a masterclass in rhetorical fire, cutting through the layers of Musk's public image with surgical precision. Stewart continued to dissect the billionaire's attempt at gatekeeping public discourse, turning every talking point into a critique of Musk's own contradictions. Musk can meme all he wants, but you know what's not funny? Stewart's voice took on a serious tone for a second. Trying to position yourself as the only person who knows what's right for society. while taking zero accountability for how much power you wield. That's not being a genius. That's being an oligarch, Elon. And that's where we start having a problem. By now, Stewart had the audience fully in his corner. He pivoted, leaning into the absurdity of Musk's attempt to label him a propagandist.